Cool. Okay, welcome along to another edition of More Than a Game podcast. I've got the great Andre Moore. My name is Tim Wilshire, and our special guest today is none other than NBL legend John Szigeti. So welcome to the podcast, John.
Welcome. Thanks so much, Tim and Dre.
No worries. Where we like to start these podcasts is just paying our respects to the traditional owners of the land. So wherever you may be around the Australia-New Zealand area, obviously paying our respects to the original owners of the land. So thank you very much.
Past, present, and the future.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay. So no, we've got our special guest. Thanks, John, for coming on the podcast. Obviously through mutual friend connections, you're able to come on, and I've had a quick chat before Andre came on the podcast here today. So got a bit of an idea on some stuff going on, but I guess we'd like to start things off, John, just a bit about where did you come from? Where were you born, and where did you sort of grow up?
So I was born in Sydney, and I moved to the Gold Coast when I was about 14. And so I grew up in Darlinghurst, and my dad was an ambulance driver there. And I moved from there.
Ambo guy, huh?
Yeah, man. It was a different lifestyle growing up in Sydney, like really urban, and then I moved to Currumbin Beach, and it was kind of real. I was really lucky and went to PBC High School, and it was a sporting school, so I got exposed to lots of different sports, and I chose basketball. In the end.
Why basketball? What attracted you to that particular game? Being a Aussie rules rugby league sort of country here.
Yeah, man. Well, you're right, Dre. So I played in a team that made the Commonwealth Bank Cup semi-finals, and I got drafted for the NRL as well. And
okay.
I probably should have taken it looking back, because they got paid so well, compared to us. But no, I started playing senior men's when I was 17, and I didn't really like the physicality of the rugby league, in the sense that it was, in our day, it was really physical. You'd resort to violence instead of athleticism.
Yeah.
And my dad just said to me, "Man, why don't you just take up fighting?" And I thought, well, all right. And I love ball, so I just went all out at ball, and I was lucky enough to land it on with an NBL team in my hometown, and develop locally and be supported all the way.
Great.
Also, so teenage years, that's when you sort of your decision was made that basketball, you sort of growing in height. And what sort of positions did you play in basketball when you first started?
Well, look, I was always an undersized center four-man. And then as I evolved, and a hard worker, and relied on hard work and basketball IQ really to compete. And then as the skills developed, probably defensively, I found a niche in the game, and I could defend all positions, and that kind of made me valuable and kept me employed for quite a long time,
Of course, yeah.
But
you were able to transfer some of those skills from another sport, from rugby to basketball as well, because the physicality side of things, right?
Well, the step from boys to men is so big in basketball, and not many make it. A lot of national representatives don't even have a pro career where they get paid a cent, So definitely being a rugby league player and a water polo player and a surfer really helped that transition with the physical attributes that you get,
Yeah, so, tell me about water polo, because I've never played, but I heard it gets really physical under that water with that water polo. I heard it's pretty crazy, huh?
It's crazy. Until you get to Olympic level, they don't have any cameras under the water, so it's anything under that line is kind of legal. Like my first A grade game, same deal. I was only 17. I lined up face to face with the Australian centre forward, and he was playing for Queensland Uni. I was playing for Gold Coast, and he just grabbed my cap and pulled my head underwater and knocked my front tooth out. First play of the game.
Is it a lot of tactics with it as well? Is it zone defenses and as well as man to man, like in basketball with water polo?
It's man to man, and then we have kickouts. So when you get a hard foul in water polo, they kick you out for 30 seconds.
Okay.
Just for
how many times you get kicked out?
So only 30 seconds. That doesn't seem like long, does it?
No, but it's like a long time. So that's when you zone in that period, and try to cover the goalpost as much as you can, and then you match up, because the physicality is when the guy gets the ball, you're basically just driving under the water.
Right.
It's a real fun sport, actually. And
I can imagine, man. You got to tread water as well too, don't you? You got to be able to tread water. How deep is the water too? And how deep is the pool usually, or whatever?
Like it's Olympic-sized pool, so you can't touch.
Okay.
And so I guess it's about 8 foot deep.
8 foot.
But you got to be genuinely fit. So we do like massive swim sets before our sort of team training, which is unusual, like doing athletics before basketball training. But it made me fit and made me be able to work hard, like you're saying, across other sports.
Transferable skills.
Yeah, man. And training at 5 a.m. takes discipline. These kids are like amazing in swimming and water polo, who can have that discipline every day, morning and night, to do that. Like I wasn't one of them, Dre. Like that's why I chose ball, and
there you go.
I needed anything with a ball was cool for me.
Is that sport? Is it an Olympic sport? Water polo?
Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah, for a long time, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So just going through your career, I mean, as we know, Andre sort of came across to Australian shores in 1990. When you were in 1991, you were 18, and that's when you debuted with the Gold Coast Rollers. So tell us about
how the Cougars then. Was
it all the Cougars or the?
No, it was the first year of the Rollers, Dre.
So, okay, first year Rollers, okay.
I debuted against the Bullets. So I remember clearly. You guys, you and Ruck were like my heroes too.
Oh, thanks, man. Appreciate
it. As a high school kid, so it was kind of wild.
Playing against
playing against Leroy as well. I grew up watching and admiring.
Robert Sibley, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the good old baseline bandit, man. And Larry Senstock, Ronnie Rat.
I didn't play this him.
Yeah, well,
Ronnie Rat would have been playing with them too, but I didn't play. I came the year after they. I was part of that new group that came in. Yeah.
What happened is when Dave Claxton came to the Gold Coast, he recruited Senstock. So that was the year after, Dre, when you got there.
Right. There was a mass exodus of players from the Bullets. Man. Before we came, I heard. I wasn't aware of that till years later.
Yeah, we had a crazy finish to the game where Mike Mitchell dunked the ball back in the last second, to win by a point off an air ball by Ronnie. So it was a cool debut, and I was lucky in a local derby. There was like about 16,000 people, and with live TV back then. It was
it the old entertainment centre? Was it too?
The old entertainment centre sold out.
Boondall.
At Boondall, yeah, and
big games there.
Had some big following for the Bullets in the early years.
You had the pleasure of playing with having a great point guard, Andre Lafleur. Andre Lafleur playing with you, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, man. He was such a tough player. Like people don't understand how good he was. He was with Reggie Smith in college, and he was the all-time leading assist getter in collegiate basketball at that time. So
Northeastern with the late great Reggie Lewis.
Sorry, yeah, that's right. And he just Dre told me he just had to give the ball to Reggie.
Right, that's all he had to do. It was kind of like a Stockton to Malone sort of situation with them too.
Yeah, man. But he had a massive IQ, and he was a cool guy, and he helped develop the young guys around the Gold Coast a lot. And
of course, his wife, his ex-wife Annie Lafleur, went on to great heights with the women's basketball. She represented Australia many years.
Yeah, man. And I actually coached his boy a couple of seasons ago.
It's all connected. Everything's interconnected.
It is. That made me feel really old, man, because I was a rookie when I was friends with Dre. So.
Is his boy got the same sort of court vision and basketball IQ that he had?
No, but
I was thinking about it first.
His dad set a high bar, Dre. Like he's one of the better point guards to come here, and he could have legitimately made it in the NBA as well. Like worst players that have come here have been successful there.
Yeah,
and but Dre liked to party, so maybe that was the thing back in our
We're
day.
talking about Dre LaFleur, not Dre Moore. I was a choir boy.
Yeah, like it's a different era. Like when we look back, so when I was 17 and I made the rollers team, the first thing they gave us was a drink card, and it was for the casino that sponsored us. It was 24 hours, and
right, casino there, yeah.
You could get like top shelf drinks and 4 of your friends, and then they gave me a time zone card, free time zone around the country as much as you like, you and your friends, and then a Hungry Jacks card, a half price Hungry Jacks. Like that's just trying to destroy your career, like straight up. Like
I know, bad food and liquor, man. Major athletes, man. Go figure.
It was fun though.
But getting back to that Reggie Lewis, man, he rest in peace, who played with LaFleur. He was actually in my same draft class, 1987.
Wow, Dre.
When I was drafted with Nuggets. The Nuggets, go to Nuggets, yeah. 87, got a shout out to the Nuggets. I was actually a higher pick. I got to put this out there right now. I was a higher pick than the Joker. He was 41st pick. I was 31st pick with the same team.
Yeah, you look more like an athlete, you know.
Man, you gotta love the Joker though, man. We'll talk probably.
How good is this guy? How good is this guy? I mean,
he's the best. Man. Yeah, he's the best, Tim, for sure. Like I've never seen a more skillful center than this guy. Like
super skilled, man. He's a 7-foot Swiss Army knife.
He is. He's a bit of a savant. Like how he plays with the ball. You know, like they run every play through him. You don't need a point guard.
No. Great play. Him and Murray, one of the best 1-2 punches I've ever seen.
Like last year when they made that like run at the end of the season and Murray was injured and he just showed he was the real MVP. You know,
they almost Murray and the Joker almost better as good as me and Rucker. Almost. Almost got me and Rucker, man. As far as
that was a good team,
dynamic duo.
That was a good duo. That was good.
So the early part in your career, obviously, you're very young. You come in and you're obviously playing a role for the Rollers. But when you get to age 22, that's obviously a massive jump in minutes, a massive jump in points and rebounds and all that sort of stuff. Tell us about from age 21 to 22. How that sort of happened?
Well, like for all little big guys, it's just constant hard work, and developing your game.
That was John, yeah.
And your physicality and developing your IQ. And I really loved like the nuances of the game. So for me, maybe unfortunately, the game was a little different when I was trying to focus on it. Like the Detroit Pistons were the bad boys and they were the champions. Yeah. And there was a different style of game where you could manipulate the game before the flagrant one. And hey, look, it went both ways, and it was very physical. And
it was back then, man.
And you could really play between the lines a lot more than they can today. And I sort of learnt that, and that was probably the big like the kind of Mark Dalton, Robert Sibley style of play between the lines that don't show up statistically, but just make you tough, And on top of that, Rodman was probably my favorite player.
I was going to ask you that. Who was your favorite player? Yeah, so that was your guy. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and I just liked his IQ, really, like how he could influence the game without having to score. And because, like when you're an Australian guy, it was really hard to make it in our era because there was already 2 import players and usually naturalized in a team, at least one, and then 2 come, and then you got a national player, and really only 8 guys played in the rotation. Yeah. So you had to really adapt to be able to fit in and make the group better. Like in the NBL 1, I could average over 30, but I knew that wasn't what was required of me at the next level. And I was probably smart enough to understand that and have a longer career than a lot of other people,
Of course. I would say John would be in the same category guys like the Grant Krugers of the NBA, NBL, Shane Frolin, a teammate of mine, guys that you don't want to play against, but you really love when they play with you on your team. Because they bring that physicality and they bring that hard-nosed, lunch pail sort of mentality to the game, which is every team needs that, which a la Rodman, and you must admire guys like he's just becoming a free agent as well.
Draymond.
Draymond Green,
Absolutely.
Those type of dudes, man, that just get it done and get in there and roll the sleeves up. I sort of fancied myself to be that type of player, even though I was in the star sort of role as well on my team.
Yes.
I still love playing with Leroy and Ruck and those guys, doing all the dirty work, getting those offensive boards, leading the NBL and offensive rebounding. I still pride myself on that, the dirty stuff,
Just having a look at, John had more offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds in his career. There you go.
See, there you go. That's what I love. You gotta love that. That's hard. That's stuff you can't teach. That's stuff you can't teach. It's hard.
Well,
desire.
Stuff that keeps you employed. That stuff, Dre.
That's right. That's right.
The small 1%ers, and they make the difference too. You need players like that after finishing basketball and becoming a coach. You need that balance on your team. Otherwise, it doesn't work. And probably another guy you could put in our category was a Warwick Giddy.
Yeah, we talked about
Giddy, of course, man, Giddy.
We had him.
A few other guys. There's quite a few guys in the league like that, man.
Yeah, and it was a real Australian way to play. I think we lost sight of it for a little while, and tried to just go with our young athletes. But we always had a really hard-nosed defensive style of play, like a Dyson Daniels is showing now.
Dyson.
We always had a certain physicality to our international game that we lost for a little period, and we brought it back.
How about our little guy with the Sacramento Kings? Guard from Melbourne. Sacramento Kings. He went back this year to play the NBA. He didn't see him play much this year.
Who was that? Jeez, I've lost.
Funny shot. Great player. Played with Melbourne United a couple years ago.
You talk.
Played with LeBron in the 2016 championship game. Guarded Steph Curry.
Dellavedova.
Yeah.
He's Sacramento. I don't know where he's floated. There you go. That's
of course.
Yeah, he's floated around a little bit now, but yeah, man.
Yeah, but he represents that hard-nosed, gritty sort of style of play. That the Australians are sort of known for.
Well, it spun America out, didn't it? A little bit, like him diving for loose balls and his
biting people's feet. They're biting. He was tough. Yeah, he's tough player, man.
Yeah,
what's your thoughts on a Simmons situation in saying that?
Look, I feel for the guy. I think he's honestly the best player that I've ever seen out of this country by far. Like skill,
talent-wise,
athletically, IQ. I thought maybe he could have developed the shot, and maybe will. The psychology now is the big thing for him, and probably his best bet is to get back in that Boomer squad, man, and start to get that spirit of just competing rawly without the pressure. Soon he's been in a high pressure cooker, obviously. Hopefully that hits rock bottom and he gets to start again and show what he can do, because
of course
he's a 20-point player.
One direction for him,
Yeah, man, that's what I think. And like his dad too, Dre, was a real hard-nosed.
That's why everybody kind of gets surprised that he's mentally, that he's not really strong.
Yeah,
but a lot of successful athletes tend to make that pave the way for their kids. They become a little more softer, the kids, because they've kind of made the road a little bit softer for them, a little bit easier for them.
Absolutely, and Dave was on the grind. He was a pioneer of our league in the sense that that they weren't getting paid big amounts of money, and maybe sometimes when you're a rookie of that kind of caliber and superstardom, he got paid a lot of money early, and then copped a lot of flack, got a few injuries, and people don't understand the psychology behind injuries, and especially your back.
Oh yeah,
and there was so much pressure on that kid to come back last year. That really wasn't fair, I don't think. It compounded everything massively, and this off season, hopefully the Boomers and or at least being around that squad and starting to get his mojo back a bit.
Hopefully, man.
Going back to your career a little bit, John. So you obviously played for the Rollers up until 1996, and then 1997 you went to Brisbane. Tell us about, I guess, that sort of transition going from the Rollers to the Bullets, and how you found that.
Going to the enemy, No, it was.
I was
It was.
gone. I was gone then.
Yeah, no, it was really a great thing for me because I was in Europe and when the role was folded, and playing in my first season over there, and my father got really ill, so I'd signed a contract with the Canberra Cannons, but I came back and I wanted to be closer to home. So David Ingham and Ronnie Radcliffe were the coaches, and it turned out to be one of the greatest years. It was actually a really successful year for Brisbane as well. We made the semi-finals.
Yeah, I
And
remember that. Yeah.
we had like a team that nobody wanted there. So I was one of the young guys, and and then we had guys like Mike Mackay, Mark Dalton, and we had these young coaches that were really in touch with the players. It was like a really fun time to play. We played the triangle offense, and and we were just we had Dwayne McLean, Leroy Loggins, CJ Bruton, Steve Woodbury. It was like a really cool team.
Woodbury and McLean, great players, man.
Yeah, they all got injured. Roger Smith as well. He had a prime year that year. And,
get up, man. White man can jump, can he?
He can jump all right, and he was like a rocket. But yeah, he's got a jerky jump shot though, Rog.
Yeah, that was the only thing. Achilles heel.
No, but he developed it for a couple of years as well. So it was a really cool team to sort of to learn a lot of things. I had Sibley and Dalton, and we played a real physical style. So that we had 18 fouls between us, and they used to turn them into us, and we used to, nearly flat back people and use those 18 fouls well, and it used to work. Protected our paint,
Yeah. What's Dinga up to these days?
Pardon? Sorry, Joe?
Dinga, the coach.
Dinga. Gee, I'm not sure, but I'd love to know. I know he was in Melbourne, and it's, when you're a coach and you're following your dreams, it's
that's like us.
Yeah, dude. And but I mean, like when you're trying to make a living out of professional coaching, there's so many obstacles, smoke and mirrors, so many situational things that put pressure on you that you can't control, even.
Same as a player too. As a player as well.
Yeah, man. And then you don't have those players. It doesn't matter how well you coach. And that's what,
players win games, coaches lose them, right?
Yeah, bro, that's exactly right. And we take the heat. But look, hey, as a coach, it's really fun, like you know yourself, to pass off some of that knowledge that people have put so much time and effort into us and trying to help us and make us better. Probably one of the big developmental things that happened for me was I was lucky enough to have a psychologist called Phil Jauncey.
Jauncey was here. Yeah, Jauncey was with us too, man. I love Jauncey, man.
Yeah, man. And like when I was 17, I had a little bit of star admiration for people, and he picked up on it, and he booked me in for a weekly session. I thought it was the worst thing. I didn't want to see a psychiatrist. He's not a psychiatrist. He's a psychologist. He's going to help you. But anyway, he did help me so much in life. Just applying the tools that he gave me, and
relationships. He helped me with relationship situations too. I had at one stage I had a bit of a harem going on. He helped me
basketball.
He helped me cut my harem down, man, from 15, 20 women to
yeah, man. 90s basketball, people don't realize, but no, but he was good all rounder, man. He was just a good guy.
Yeah,
and
guy.
He learned. He taught me how to develop my own self-confidence, and how to focus neutrally on things, and to actually stay in the moment, and all these real positive things that at the time you don't really realize, but some real gold nuggets.
Yeah, shout out to Phil Jauncey. I like to harken back on a really good term that we talk about great coaches. The great Wayne Bennett, Broncos. Yeah. What he used to say about winning and winners and losers. He would say winners have parties and losers have meetings.
And hey, we've all had a bit of both in your career, huh? And
having those meetings, you gotta have team meetings. Things are not in a good state of mind.
Well, one of the cool things, like in that first experience in Brisbane I had, is in our first couple of weeks we go to Melbourne and we play Gorgon's team down there, and they end up giving us a hiding. We come back with 30-point loss, and
Right.
anyway, they said, oh, bring your runners to practice in the morning. So anyway, everyone turned up.
You don't want to hear that.
Yeah, no, we turned up with our runners, and then when we got there, they just went, put them on, and then they gave everyone 2 cab charges. They said, we're going up to the paddo, and we spent
okay, it was a bit of a
spent the whole day there, bro, like drinking and eating and bonding together, and we ended up having a
strength of you guys, huh?
It was the making of us, you know, and
we went from this,
to
this, huh?
We did, and we just committed to each other, and enjoyed it. It was such an enjoyable year.
Oh, a couple of you guys got married. You say you committed to each other. You got a couple marriages.
Well, hey, we were intimately close. I tell you, like we used to share rooms.
More of the plans than you do your misses and all that, don't you? Really?
Yeah, they didn't have single room budgets, but so you knew a little bit about other people.
Yeah, I go. That's a whole other story.
Yeah, look, that's a whole.
What happens on the road stays on the road, right?
Yeah, they got to pay us for that. Yeah, you know, you got to ask Dave Colbert about that. That was like there's been so many.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Did you say Dave Colbert? You mentioned Dave Colbert. Yeah, may he rest in. You know, he passed away, right?
No, I never knew that, Dre. You see.
You just found out now. I mean,
now it's horrible. Yeah.
Yeah, he was a great guy.
I used to compete against that guy so hard, man.
Yeah, he was great.
He had a lot of heart, Dave Colbert.
Great guy too. He had the most genuine smile. He was a great guy. May he rest in peace, man.
He was actually one of your teammates, yeah.
Yeah, he played a year with us with the Bullets. A couple of years with us, I think. Yeah.
I remember.
His better years were down with Melbourne with Dave Simmons, Ben's dad, when they were the double D's down there.
Yeah, I remember trying to guard him, and I took a charge on him a couple of times, and I hurt for 3 days after it. You know, but
yeah. I played against him in college back in America when I was at Loyola. He was at Dayton, Ohio, and he was more of a post player in college. And then he got he was more of a jump shooter. You know, he really changed his game around. You know.
Yeah, it was right in that era of big men evolving too. You know.
Yeah, it was early,
starting to spread the floor and.
Yeah, well, stretch guys. We had the guys. He was a stretch guy, stretch big guy early in the piece. Yeah,
man. Yeah. But no, look, it was a really fun era, that '90s period. Just before mobile phones, you know, that sort of ended all the fun nearly for people. I think when they put a camera on a phone and then people had to hide to start push and record, and then But look, still, it was just a fantastic time to be a part of basketball, where sort of fashion, I think, music and sport all met together. It was like a really unusual time, you know, and
Snoop Dogg and all that,
And of course, we were so lucky in the fact that we never had cable in Australia either, or the internet really wasn't that big, where people were pirating NBA games. So we actually got a lot of pump off that, you know, off our local communities.
Yeah, the old VHS tapes, man.
Yeah,
Michael
man.
Jordan, come fly with me and all that. You know, remember some of those early Jordan tapes?
That's right.
Sean Kemp, the Rain Man. You ever see Sean Kemp's Rain Man video?
No.
That VHS tape was one of my favorites, man. That's why, he was.
Sean Kemp was special though. That was that Superstars 3, that's got a few cool things in it. That was some proper stars in that time. But
you got any you guys got any VHS tapes to this day?
I think I would have got rid of them. I used to collect them all when growing up. I used to buy them all. You know, the little fellas, the big tall guys, all the different types of best dunking videos, all that sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, great ones. What about you, John?
Wish I knew the names.
Yeah, man. My only highlight tapes on VHS, so it's buried forever.
But the thing about them, if they're not stored properly, in your basement or your garage or whatever, they become deoxidized. You get to start in that white sort of, it messes the tape up. So you got to put them on, transfer them over to DVDs or something like that.
Yeah.
They're digital now.
There's a company I used to live next door. They used to do that sort of.
They would have made a killing, huh?
In Brisbane, just right in Brisbane.
It
was pretty good. So, I guess when you sort of got to the end of your NBL career, and I guess were you still playing basketball for a while after the NBL, or when did you sort of start going into trying to go into boxing?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Look,
so yeah, that was
sweet science. Story. I love it, man. It's sweet science.
I wanted to do kickboxing, so when I was a kid, I did taekwondo, and I had like a black belt in taekwondo. So, but
was MMA around? Was MMA was before MMA, right?
A little bit before, but K1 was big with Mark Hunt and Nathan Briggs and guys like that. And
Briggs,
so I thought for sure I'll try that. But one of my last games, I did my knee really bad, and in the rehabilitation, I sort of met a girl, and then I got invited back to Europe where I was playing as a captain coach for Vienna, and I went back, and 3 weeks later she called me and said that she was pregnant and didn't want to come. So I came back, and it's to where I am today in the same situation. So it was worth it, and it was cool. But it was a hard transition to give up. But so then it's hard. Like every old athlete will tell you, that transition from the lifestyle we were so blessed to be a part of, and then to transition to a normal lifestyle. Like people actually do this every day, and and I was in my 30s then, so I had a really good run. But that was a hard transition to make, but I still played locally in the ABA, but the thing was I got fat. So once I got fat, it starts to hurt your body, and then I became an angry player, and I didn't have the same love, and I was a little bit more aggressive. And one day my partner said to me, what do you, it's embarrassing watching you play, I said, why is that? She goes, you're just like beating up little kids. And I was like, it's like, oh, okay, fair enough. So
that's where you got into boxing.
Yeah, that was it. But the era had changed, and that was what I copped. You know what I mean? My first training session was 6 stitches, and go get that stitch, son. And no love, and if a fight broke out, I used to think, at 17, all these massive guys are training. Some was 7 foot, 140 kilo guys, and they're going to punch on, and the coach is going to come and save me. No, man. It was like, and then they just go, you guys finished? Okay, sweet, let's go back to practice. And it was a different kind of era. And, I think that helped me a lot to make the transition to decide to fight. And then I actually got quite heavy because, you're training 20 hours a week, and then all of a sudden you're training none, and you're eating the same. And I went to 150 kilos. So I thought, I'll try.
Wow, okay.
I tried a couple of sports, but it just hurt my body. So then I started boxing training, and the guy at the gym just happened to be a really good coach, and Coach Carly Meehan was Australia's best heavyweight at the time. And
right, okay.
He asked me, you want to have a fight? And I was like, nah, man, I don't think, I'm 31. And he was like, no, that doesn't matter. You're a heavyweight. And I said, how long do you think it'll take me? And he said, just till you get in shape. And I said, what's in shape? And he said, about 115 kilo. I thought, that's going to take 18 months, But no, it took 6 months. And then they'd had me on TV, signed up for my first fight, on a really big card. And it was.
What was it first? Tell us about the first fight. What was that like? What was that? Who was that against? And what was that?
It was a guy called Alex Manny, who was like the Pan Pacific amateur champion and knockout artist, and the squat fighter. Really difficult. And but like I only had a cap gun. Like I'd only 6 months, and I didn't know how to move. I didn't even know where to stand. Like it's looking back on it, it was really naive. But I had a lot of heart, and I had a really good jab. Yeah. So I remember going out in the first round, and just how quick it was, man. It's like super quick sport. Like it's 3 shot puts on you in like 1 second at a high level. Wow. And you have to be reactive, and you have to be neutral mindset. So you're thinking all the time when you're a novice, and you're a little bit behind the ball. And I kept getting hit, and I come back to the corner. I said, how am I doing? And my coach said, you're getting killed, man.
What's he like? What's your guy like? Your corner guy like? What's his name? Mickey and Rocky?
No, he's a big Islander. He was just like, Johnny, you're getting killed out there, man. I taught you how to throw a jab. And I was like, yeah. And he goes, well, do it. and then I just went out and I just had 3 rounds of jabbing this poor kid to death, and I missed every other shot, but I ended up winning the fight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then it went from there, Dre, and I just
So
started to learn.
Was that an amateur fight or a pro fight?
No, I had no amateur fights, so I don't know. I just sort of got railroaded into it a little bit, and I really enjoyed it.
So it's like a straight into a pro fight, basically.
Thrown right into the water, deep in, huh? Yeah.
Deep in, and then they just, the sharks start circling you. Then, you know, you feel like an inexperienced big guy, and yeah, I had to have some humility. So like I've had Olympic sparring partners like Brad Pitt and another big guy, Julius Long, who's the biggest basketball sort of boxer in the world, and Willie Nassio. So we all had a few Australian champs in our team, and so that I had really good learning. Nathan Briggs I sparred with for a year straight. Alex Leopai 3 years, and made a documentary and developed a really good friendship with him and his family.
What about Tua? You ever meet Tua?
No, but
not fight him, but yeah, just meet him. That guy has some hammer, boy.
He's a little older than me, so I admired him from afar, you know, like chasing his world title dreams, and he was the man.
Yeah, so you got a very good boxing record then. I mean, I'm just having a look at it now. I mean, first 4 fights you won, and then obviously you was talking about Alex Leopai. That was your 5th fight, wasn't it?
Yeah, look, I sort of got railroaded into that, and I was coming straight out of this. Well, I just a little bit of stupidity, maybe, you know, like a naivety, and you win your first 4 fights, and they signed me up to fight a guy called Clarence Tillman, who athletically I probably would have destroyed him. And 4 days before the fight, they say, "Oh no, we've got a new opponent for you. His name's Alex Leopai." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, okay." And you know, I've sold 5 tables to all my friends, and you've got all these. You've done media press conferences, and then so I couldn't back out in my mind. So his coach rang my coach the night before. I said, "Pull Johnny out because Alex is a killer." So I said, "No, I'm not pulling out," and I went for the fight, and I thought I was doing pretty good. And then in the last sort of few seconds of the first round, he caught me with this unusual Samoan bowler style overhand right. I'd never seen it, and hit me on the neck, and I fell down and got back up. But in the time when I fell down, I broke my leg.
The way you fell, the angle you fell from.
Yeah, and I felt like such a chump, you know, like I'd never seen this style before, and I felt really naive, and it took me 18 months to come back, but I came back as his sparring partner, and he went on a tear to actually go on to fight Vitaly Klitschko for the world title.
Klitschko.
So I was effectively sparring with the number 2 guy in the world for 3 years, man, and it lifted my.
It's like my Joker situation, being a higher pick than the Joker, man.
Yeah, man. Like I was just trying to win a Queensland title. He was trying to win an Australian title. Like I had small goals in it, but just to keep me interested and to keep that spark satisfied you get as an athlete, you know. And that was a cool thing, and it went for a long time. I fought to 45, you know.
Yeah,
beautiful, man. What's the feel to knock a guy out, man? What's that feel like? How does it compare to like dunking on somebody?
It's exactly the same, you know. It's the adrenaline, but the adrenaline you get from fighting is really hard to you know, like at first it's fear when you don't know how to control it, and then you learn to thrive on it, and it gives you energy and let it out at the right time. So it took me about 8 fights to realize that probably all the machoism, everything that happens around the egos in the sport doesn't matter until we get like face to face and there's a space between us, and that's all you can control. And that's all you really got to worry about once you're experienced. We'll wait till the jump, and I'll start to control it from there, and I'll have a game plan, and then you're into process thinking like we've always learned, you know. It's not you just have to be a little bit more reactive and in the moment in this sport. Otherwise, you're done.
That's the difference between individual sports like that, boxing, tennis, bowling, or whatever, as opposed to team sports. Yeah, it's just you out there.
That was kind of cool too, you know, like because you're your own franchise, like where
right.
we don't have enough money to make. If you got enough ego and you work hard enough, you can create anything in these kind of sports. And like a Tyson Fury, like a Mayweather, his own promotion company, his own league, basically.
Oh man, Money Mayweather. Oh my goodness.
So
That's shout out to the Zoo Kid the other day, huh? Just a couple days ago.
There we go. There's some stats there.
Oh, there you go. Look at the boy in there.
So 5 knockouts, 10 wins. Obviously, what's the Iron Lion? Tell us about. Is that a nickname?
I like the Iron Lion.
Oh man, that was just my Bob Marley phase I was traveling through at the time, and a '90s thing. But I always related to that song, and it was really grounding. And I found a lot of the other songs were uplifting in too much of a way to pump me. So I always, that was my little walkout song, and that hence the name, you know.
Well, why no AC/DC, Back in Black or something like that?
Well, I want to be iron like a lion in Zion, you know. That was cool. But no, there was nothing really behind it. Like they said, "Oh, what's your name?" And you're just thinking, "What am I going to call myself?" It was a bit of a joke, man. I was a bit off the couch, and I trained a few times a week, and I didn't take it as serious as you should have. You know, like I wouldn't advise anyone to do what I did, but it was the journey of like 15 fights is a really cool thing, and it retrospectively it made me grow as a person and gave me good humility and made me refocus and believe in myself again. And that's it. And
hey, Prime Tyson versus Prime Ali. Who's winning that fight?
Prime Tyson.
Everybody talks like that.
No, Prime Tyson. Yeah, like
you think Prime Tyson will take out Prime Ali?
I just think that the intention was so bad with Tyson. You know, Ali never really wanted to hurt him, and one guy was like a showman, and he definitely, if he could have kept Tyson off with the jab. You see, Tyson in his prime never came in a straight line. He was so using his peekaboo style where he made people miss the whole time, and he was a squat fighter. And then when Kevin Rooney left his camp, he became a straight up walk up fighter at 6 foot, and that's when he started to get. They're the only times he got touched. I think in his first 36 fights, no one really touched him. Yeah,
when he lost Costas, that was Costas. What's the old fella that brought him up? That was
Customata.
Customata. Yeah, when we lost him, that changed a lot too. His corner changed, and people around him changed, and Robin Gibbons.
Kevin Rooney. You know, Kevin Rooney was Cuss's assistant, but he he wanted him to train hard, and Mike was having the time of his life. Like what a legendary sporting journey he went on. That's like another story, you know, like to where he's ended up now doing his podcast, and as an entertainer now, he's so broad.
He's loving this stuff too.
And then licking the toads back, and he's doing all kinds of stuff, you know, Mike. But hey, he's actually really a lateral thinker and pretty deep.
Oh, very, very intelligent man. Yeah, very intelligent dude.
You know, I get that, but Ali as well. Like he's faultless. Like the Cleveland Williams era, he's had a couple of fights there before they stopped him being able to fight, where he was just you don't know, but he come back different. And if he would have fought him in a later time, he might have really damaged Ali, you know.
Hey, that era with Hagler and what's all those guys? All that era with Hagler and who's the other guys?
Durant, Hagler, Durant,
Hearns,
Sugar Ray Leonard, and Hearns. Fabulous.
That era was something else, wasn't it, man?
Yeah, man, and I was always a fan, like as a baller, watching, and but that was kind of just a good little thing to follow later in life to get my kicks that I always probably never had the courage to start at 17, you know.
Yeah.
So with the current sort of boxers that are obviously at the top of their game right now, which ones do you like, John? And I mean, obviously, Tommy. Everyone loves Tyson. You know, Tyson Fury's obviously a fun guy to watch. But
we got an Australian guy, Dempsey McKean. He's a left-hander from Brisbane.
Yeah, everybody.
And he's about 6'7" and really athletic. He's an MMA fighter before, and Like I've actually signed to fight him once, but he got injured just before it. But so I studied him a lot. He's actually a really good mover, and he's in the top 5 in the world. Like locally, he's a guy, and of course Justice Hooney. Like what a absolute talent he is, you know, and they put in a lot of pressure on him to be able to punch at an early age, but it takes time, and he shouldn't be in a rush. Like all the top pros in heavyweight talk about their biggest attribute being, well, that they learn is patience, you know.
Yeah, and you know what you say about patience too. Confucius, you know what Confucius said about patience. Man who want pretty nurse must be patient.
Yes.
So Dempsey McKean, about 32. Yeah, he's been a sparring partner for Anthony Joshua as well. So he's
what about Zeus kid the other day. You watched the fight the other day?
So Tim Tszyu, like, as an Australian fighter, like, just came into that realm with Fennick and his father, you know, like, which is the upper echelon, and he's starting to touch their greatness with the way that they were followed, and man, this kid's so courageous. Like, seriously, who does that? You know, like, he's risking a $12 million, $15 million fight for $1 million fights that are extremely risky in the interim. And then the way that he just demolished the Mexican the other day was very impressive. He's a dangerous guy. Like, wow.
Yeah, I've seen him fight once live. I saw Tim fight up at Dairy Farmers up in Townsville against Jeff Horn. That was just before, 3 years ago, about 3 years ago. That was a fun fight. But yeah, Tim Tszyu, just amazing, and definitely got a huge future.
Yeah, Tim, you run a lot. Tim Bullshit, he's around boxing and MMA stuff a lot. You go to a lot of those fights, don't you?
Yeah, and also, I mean, George Kambosos the last couple of years has been really good. I think he's got a big fight booked. Can't remember who it's against, but he's only had loss to the one fighter. So
he was really unlucky. Like, Devin Haney's a very hard athletic matchup, and he's a diffuser, a spoiler, and George beats. His styles make fights, like they say, and that was kind of his checkmate a little bit, you know.
Yeah, I think George would probably beat Lomachenko. That's just my opinion, but I don't know if we'd ever see that fight. But yeah, hopefully.
Different. Yeah, like, he couldn't move like Haney. Haney was so slick.
Yeah, Haney's
Big Tyson over.
These guys come along and they just come out of nowhere sometimes, and then are the cream in the crop. And this guy just on the same sort of level as a Mayweather, Haney, I reckon. Just unbelievable.
So young too. That, you know, Charlo, who he's lining to fight up next, is a very impressive guy. Like, Tim's not saying he's going to beat him. He just say he wants him on his resume because he's the best guy, and he wants that's the weight of the belts. I think he's looking at favourite. So the longer that Charlo's been injured, a year ago, no, Charlo easy the favourite. Yeah. Now Tim's been fighting and improving, and you can see the hunger. It's very real. I think Charlo's in for a very tough fight, but I wouldn't, like, he's such a great fighter, like, without being biased.
Yeah,
it's hopefully a great fight for both of them, better than 70 seconds anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
as great as boxing is, man, the best part of it was ring girls, man. So you had any great ring girl stories for us, man?
Dre, let me tell you, no, like, I used to get in trouble all the time. They're like, man, look at me in the corner, you know. But
look at me, hey, I'm over here.
Yeah, it was.
Man, take us through the process. Do you know anything about the back process of choosing those girls? Is that grueling sort of?
Hey, bro, it's a real sleazy industry. Like, I'm not. I wouldn't subject my daughter to it or anything. It's like,
okay, all right.
Because
girls, you can't go into that industry. John just said,
they're out. No, look. So there's family orientated promoters and, like, basketball cheerleaders, you know. But then, so in New Zealand, for example, like, a strip club sponsored the events that I fought at, and so all the workers were like the ring girls.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And it was a different experience, you know. Like,
there's
a lot of different people around boxing.
They make a few dollars for being ring girls. They make a few dollars for that, or is this the exposure they get, huh?
Yeah, but they just get exploited, not exposure. It's like you know, I think there's a fine line with that stuff, but it's entertainment, and and they should just pay the right people to entertain, you know, and we get value for money, and they're worth looking at, and because there's a lot that aren't, and then but the UFC's done the best job with that, man. So they've given them an actual avenue where they can earn money and develop their own celebrity
is that Dana's doing Dana the
he's always got a lot to do with it. Yeah, got a lot to do with it. Before you sort of came on the air, Dre, one thing I was talking to John about was his battle, his health battles. Tell us a bit about how that all came about, John, and where you're sort of at in defeating cancer.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know you were going through that, man.
Yeah, I had a pretty tough year, Dre. So I guess like
siblings, man.
Yeah, well, Rob was first, and then last Christmas on New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve, I got this big lump on my neck, and I went to the hospital, and they couldn't. It was inconclusive, and they kept bringing me back maybe several times in a month, and eventually it came back as cancer. So caused by the HPV virus, you know, which is so many, like cold sores, shingles. There's 20 different things you can get, but it's so it was dormant in my body and then came alive, and so detected in multiple areas: tonsils, throat, lymph nodes, and my tongue. So about several surgeries, and then like 3 rounds of chemo this year. So good dose, but
they get into it. You're kicking his butt. Hopefully, you're kicking his butt, cancer's butt, man.
Bro, yeah. Look, you know, it's really individual, like all of it. But I had a pretty good psychology towards it. It was, I think that's half of it. I took the highest dosages of the medicines that I could, and never really had a doubt. I just sort of accepted the fate of what it was going to be, you know. And luckily for me, the outcome was really positive, and you know, you know, you get other sort of personal growth out of those kind of situations as well. So coming out the other side of that has been really, I feel fortunate and lucky, and I just turned 50, so it was a great present, you know.
Welcome to the 50, man.
Yeah, bro.
50. I'll be 59 in a few more weeks. I'll be the big 5'9", man.
Wow, you looking fantastic, my
Thanks, man. Yeah. Well, man, I'm gonna keep you in my prayers, man. As far as that, you know, you and obviously Sibley, and even down, you know, down south we got Parkinson, you know, Andrew Parkey, man, down there as well. You probably know about his battles as well too, you know.
Yeah,
and millions of other people out there. So, do you have a message for people out here?
Yeah, look, just to stay strong, and your attitude has so much to do with the way that you handle it, and to be open to the chemo. Like I think a lot of people are really closed to it and have a predetermined idea of, man, it was a couple of weeks of sickness a few times. Like, it was bad, but it was something I'd do a million times to have a chance, you know. And having a strong attitude towards, you know, that was the battle to really take the nuclear medicine and still stay strong and ready for the next, and then before you know it, it's over, you know.
You have a family support system around you as well too.
Yeah, look, I've been lucky, and I got a boy who's 19 and a beautiful family, a 13-year-old daughter. Same partner for 20 years. So
congratulations. 20 years.
Yeah. So I'm pretty lucky, and my life's good. Like, it's just these things come out of the blue. They're just so indiscriminate.
Yeah.
You know, it's a hard thing. Like, you don't work for a year. That's a hard thing. So I'd worked to a point in coaching where I was starting to get my teeth back in, and a little bit of professional interest, and this happens, and then, you know, I think I got to spend a little bit more time with my family, and it really put a lot of things in perspective and brought me back to the moment more than anything else, you know.
Yeah. And happy belated Father's Day on that note as well too. Father's Day.
Good on you, Dre. Yeah.
I actually us Americans get to experience two Father's Days. It happens in October again, you know, in America.
September,
Oh, was it September or October?
Yeah,
man?
September, first Sunday usually, I think.
Yeah, I got it wrong. So yeah,
But
that'd be awesome. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for sharing that story with us, man. I really wish you the best with that continue,
Thanks,
fight,
Trey.
battle and all that, with that,
Hey, look, and it's random life. You don't know, and
Yeah, life is.
it's just having that positive outlook all the time, and
That's right.
maximizing your opportunities and making the most out of stuff that you take for granted. We take a lot for granted that you probably don't even realize it, and even just a chance to talk and connect with people that you're too pressured to have a proper perspective on. Sometimes it's cool. That was cool, so I'm pretty much back in the moment now, man.
That's
Great,
really
yeah. Are you able to you out and do a little bit of
boxing still,
boxing, or just punching on the bag? What do you call it?
Yeah, sparring and
this type of training for any sport.
A little bit of bag work. But look, I train a lot of guys, so in my gym I'm pretty lucky, and a lot of different young athletes and basketballers, and boxing something that just gives you confidence.
Great sport. I mean, it's a great training sport for any sport. It's training. It's just for anything in life. It's just great.
Absolutely. And it's so relative after doing both of them together. And I had a real passion for coaching, so I ended up actually being the Vanuatu national boxing coach for a couple of years. I trained
in Vanuatu a few years back. I was there with basketball, Vanuatu.
Yeah, you've done camps there, haven't you?
Yeah, I did camps in Vanuatu. It's a great place in it, man.
Bro, I was there too. So they took me to an island, and I had a fighter that I worked with for 4 years there, and we made it. He was fourth in the Oceania, and they have like a qualifying for the Oceania Pacific Games, and he was fourth in that. And then the chief introduced me to him through a mutual friend, and he asked if we could do a couple of sessions, and then he came out to my gym, and we did a couple of weeks before the Oceanias, and he won it, and he qualified for the world titles, which are in Abu Dhabi. And then because I don't have an amateur coaching license, I had to sort of coach him on the phone and have tactics, and anyway, so he ended up coming 8th in Abu Dhabi, and that qualified him for Rio. So they flew me to Vanuatu a few times, and I took a few fighters out, and we went on this island, and it was just so amazing, and stayed there for 4 weeks, camps a couple times. And
how long ago was that? What year was that? Remember?
Well, just before Rio, so
right,
a few years now, but it transfers on in the sense that was my little hook, and now I sort of love it. I'm addicted. I like coaching it. I don't know. It's a hard one to encourage people to take up as a sport after knowing about CTE and all the dangers. Like a young person, if they committed to it, I'll take them help them on the journey. But I don't want to. It's got to be their decision,
Yeah.
But it's a hard one, boxing, because there is a toll that people pay if they don't respect the sport.
Yeah, fair enough. Do you still go out? Do you still go out surfing too, out at Palm Beach or in the Gulf?
Yeah, man. Like so my gym's right on the beach at Currumbin at the surf club.
Come check it out. Come check it out. Come down, check it out one day.
It's kind of epic. Like the waves break right past our gym. Where it's unique in the world. And
wow.
I've sort of been lost there. It's so good. Like the last few years. So I'm on the beach every day, and when the waves are good, I'm it's amazing. Yeah, I get to live the beach lifestyle still.
What's your gym? What's your gym called? What's the name of the gym? Is it called?
It's the Viking Surf Life Saving Club. And, so just 4 of us have leased the gym as our own personal studio for over a decade now, and it's such a cool place. We still have a lot of the same clients from 12 years.
Yes, you got an actual ring there, or actual boxing ring?
No, Dre. So I tried to stay away from the boxing gyms. I've had a lot of offers to manage gyms and coaching positions, but it's this place being on the water. Like I can hang 3 bags there, and I've got a full gym and an area we can spar, but it's not like a professional ring. That we got one of those around the corner if we want to fight, but the percentage of time that you use the ring's really small usually in boxing training. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on wrestling? Professional wrestling.
Say that one more time.
What's your thoughts on professional wrestling? Wrestling.
Oh wow!
The whole
WWE
world of wrestling.
That's cool. I think now they're owned by the UFC. Like it's all falling into that entertainment line, you know. And the press conferences are really similar, and
I love the press conferences, man.
dude, they create all those themes in it now. But hey, it works, and wow, what a sport the UFC's taken off like immensely.
Yeah.
And to have enough money to buy pro wrestling that we grew up watching, you know.
Yeah.
The Junkyard Dog and George the Animal Steel and Sergeant Slaughter. It goes on and on.
The missing link, man. The missing link.
The missing link, bro. Yeah, there were some real characters I like, and of course Hogan, who we got to see star and rise.
Went on the big stuff, big things. Well, the Rock there.
It's funny, you know, like your childhood, and in Europe, it was when I was playing basketball there, it was a massive thing. Like they actually love it, and a little bit more than it never took off in Australia massively.
Yeah,
and I remember.
So do you say you played basketball in Europe for a bit? When was that post NBL or?
Yeah, so my dad was Hungarian. So when I was 21, I went over because that was before they changed our NBL season, so you could go and play it like in the off season. And so I went straight to Hungary, and I played for a team there and for about 8 months, and then came back after the preseason and played in the NBL for Brisbane.
Yeah.
And then I guess 3 years later, I had enough of sort of playing, and my father passed away, and I just wanted a new adventure. So I went over, and I sold my car and turned up at the best team there mid-season and just said, yeah, you guys need me. And they kind of laughed at me because they're so big in Europe, the players, man. I said, what position do you play? I said, oh, I'm a 4 or 5. And they're like, not over here, you know. And then
yes, that was me when I went to Denver.
And I said,
give me a trial. 7 footers in Denver, yeah.
Yeah, man. Like we had a guy, 180 kilos, 7'2", really skillful, leading scorer in the European Championships. But like I had skill in defending, and that was something that I knew I could stop guys, and I had IQ enough to take them off their spots. And I tried out for a week, and then I signed a deal there, and I spent 3 seasons there. Yeah, so 4 seasons in total. It was cool. Yeah.
Szigeti, I would have thought Szigeti was a Italian surname.
Hungarian.
Everybody
Hungarian. Yeah, it means Islander, Dre.
Oh, really?
But I thought that sounded a little bit too X-rated. So John Islander's not really the best name, so I kept it.
Oh God.
So you always remember Szigeti, you know, like it's
everyone does remember.
We're all the way back to the before the Rollers. It was the Cougars, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you remember Leroy Coombs playing with them?
Right, Leroy Coombs, he was an athlete.
Had all the knots in his head, looked like he just broke out of Attica.
Yeah, I think he nearly did, Jay, like for real. Like he used to play up Leroy, but he was actually a pretty cool guy. Like I was only
really rough.
I was 16, and I was scrimmaging one day with him, and he got caught in between, and I dunked the ball on him, and he's a great shot blocker. And then he just turned on me and followed me around the gym, and the next 5 shots I took, he just threw it into the back wall, and was still talking to me after I left. I was apologetic. I dunked. Oh, sorry, man. Like, and but what a good era. Like, so that Southport Stadium at
legendary.
Yeah, that's where that was my breeding ground, man, and that's where I learned how to play.
Greg Fox's dad, was he? Yeah, Greg Fox, my great point guard with the Bullets. Yeah, he's a
man, boy. Rod Fox, and but yeah, he's a legend. But this was like a players thing where you sort of had to earn your stripes, and players from all over the country.
I played there a few times.
Yeah, man, I matched up on you there, like as a kid, and that was the stepping stone to you know that I think without that
baptism of fire.
Yeah. Hey, and yeah.
What about Roger Smith's brother? Talking about the ball. Wayne. He lived around the corner from me. He used to live around the corner from me. Built a big house around the corner here.
Yeah, they were good athletes, the Smith
Wayne
boys.
could ball, man.
Yeah, like but the whole character of Gold Coast basketball then was pretty tough and rugged, and to make it like
who the jewelry family down there. The family ran all of the jewelry, the basketball jewelry family in Gold Coast.
There was a couple like the Legasics
or something.
And the Legasics and but the Granthams. So there was like 4 brothers, and they were real tough. And
is Toby Zaremba? Is he from Gold Coast?
Toby Zaremba's from Gold Coast.
Great player.
He was a rookie like a couple of years after my rookie year, but good guy, Toby. Yeah, he's a property developer on
quiet,
intellectual. And but he's an engineer and now a property developer on
he's doing very well.
Central Queensland. Like I think they live in Noosa now. Yeah, so he's
Reg
doing
Biddings.
well.
What about Reg Biddings? Rest in peace.
Rest in peace, Reg. But yeah, he was a character too, man. Like he was another guy that was a regular at those pickup games, and an absolute legend character, funny.
Yeah, I think he scored like 70, 80 points in the NBL game. Back in, he was one of that first wave of players that came over around Leroy and the great, Black Pearl, and
I think it was Fernando Wadding. Fernando Wadding, and he was definitely a tough dude. Like, and that was before the 3-point line. That was legit. Like, he would
tell you how tough he was too.
Yeah, he wasn't as good as he said he was, but there was a little lack of talent that you're playing against. I think that league really grew in talent in a 10-year period from that period.
Yeah, he's driving around his Rolls Royce on the Gold Coast because he had the license to drive them.
He had some of the best scams going too, Reg. Like over the years, man. Like he was in the paper here one time. He had a shootout in Cavill Avenue, and I think it was like $20 or $15 to do the shootout. It wasn't too hard, and if you made the shot, you got a washing machine.
Oh, we said shootout. I thought about Chicago, man. But growing up in Chicago, I thought you were talking about that type of shootout.
No. It's like a proper shootout, like basketball, Reg. Right?
Okay, I'm with you now.
And then he gave him like an old second-hand washing machine that the one that was on display wasn't in it, and the Consumer Affairs went after him. And then they went into him further, and he had like the American bikini car wash. Remember that?
Yeah, he had all the scams.
Rolls Royce
scams, man, serious scams.
That was like, I don't know, like he
had a car that he had fashioned and made it into like a little grill. He would do barbecue, pull the hood up on the car and had like a grill under there or something like that, man. He had all kind of stuff going on.
He was an entertainer, Reg, and but like that was so cool for me to grow up with those characters, and and that's probably one of the things that's disappointing about the game now and the way it's been administrated in, for me, is they try to take the characters out of the game. And really the characters were the things that made the character of those people was what made them champions. And
that's right. What about Tony D'Ambrosio? What's he up to these days? You ever keep in touch with him?
I haven't seen much of him, but I know that he's a physio at Tweed, and he's got his own practice.
Great.
Yeah, like he was always very well educated, Tone, and career orientated for after basketball, just like Peter Hill, who
we got a guy right the suburb I live at now. There's a guy by the name of Jim Eustace, great physiotherapy, keeping my body together. He was a former Brisbane Bullet player.
Yeah, I know the name for sure. Eustace.
Eustace. Yeah, Eustace. His boy plays with Gold Coast now in the Jared. And they've been very successful in the NBL 1 the last couple of years. Jared's a shooter from
right. I've seen him, but I didn't know it was his son. That's cool.
No, that's Eustace. Yeah. You go to the game, man. He's say good day to him, man.
Yeah, I will. Yeah,
Jimmy Eustace, man. I remember Tony Ambrosius had one of the funniest nicknames, even though it wasn't accurate. It was so. They used to say, Tony G, I'm hopeless. Even though he was nowhere near being hopeless. He was a great player. It just rhymed really good. I didn't make it up. I remember hearing that before.
Oh, bro, it was probably Bruce Palmer. I remember
I
remember walking past the Brisbane Bullets bench once, and he was a coach, and he said, Szigeti, that guy's got too many consonants in his name to be tearing us up.
He was hilarious, man. Playing for Palmer, man. He was a great coach, without a doubt. But just one of the all-time characters. Remember, he just say, guys, that guy, we used to have to do scouting reports for him.
Right.
Each one of us, particularly the starters, had to give a scouting report to to everybody in the room about the guy we're going to be going against.
Wow.
Dave Simmons, he likes to go left, or he's, we got to box him out. We got to. He would say and Palmer would say, this I don't want to say the guy's name. This one particular guy, he runs down the court like he got a pair of high heel shoes on.
Hey, Dre, for sure. And he was the best commentator we ever had too.
He was great, man. Paul was a legend.
People weren't onto it. He's like, running into him's like having a critical car crash. He's just so funny. His calls, He was
hilarious, man. I wonder if Gorgeous was the same, because they were good mates. Gorgeous, probably the greatest coach ever, along with Brian Curl, who brought me out to Australia. Who also always says, every time people ask, when I tell people that Brian Curl brought me to Australia, and Brian hears, he said, "Oh, it's the worst move I ever made."
Yeah, that's right. Hey, but another shout out, coaching's Mike Kelly's doing well. Yeah,
Kelly, he just got a new job. Yeah, he got a new job with he's taking over the Southeast Melbourne job, right?
Wow. Yeah. He's Georgian 2.0, really. He's done so well with the Boomers. I like the way they play.
Yeah. Well, he was a tough player in his day as well, too, old Kelly, yeah.
He's a very good player.
Irish blood, I think it is.
He was so generous, I went on a tour once with to the States with him and a guy called Billy Ross for Cairns. And
Billy, that's my guy, Billy, man. Shout out to Billy Ross. We were teammates up there in Cairns.
And him and Ben Johnson, they were really good guys.
Ben Johnson, another great guy.
And Terry Johnson, they had a really good
side
there, believe it or not. And we went to the States. We played Rod Johnson's brother. We played I guess 10 top Californian teams, and it's the only tour we were successful.
I heard about that tour. I remember hearing about that tour. Yeah.
Yeah, we won like a 9 out of 10, and they ripped us off in UCLA, the O'Bannons. And, but Billy, man, and Mike, they just had this incredible balling tournament, and he took me to Long Beach and showed me a lot of the culture in LA around balling. And
did Timmy Duggan go along with you guys? Was Timmy Duggan with you guys?
Timmy Duggan did not, but he played with me with the Gold Coast 2 years, Dre.
Young Timmy.
He was a champion, Timmy.
He was doing really well back in his native Darwin with his Hoops for Health program. Yeah.
Wow. If you ever see him, tell him I said good day, man.
Yeah.
We were boys for a while. So we got the first Aboriginal in the league. We got to sort of go and see the country and take him out and party.
I took him under my wings up in Kansas as well, too, man. My program, Big Feet, the Big Feet program, he started his thing, Hoops for Health, which is going really, really big in that whole Northern Territories area,
More power, man, because they need it up there, and he's such a good role model too.
He's doing very well, Timmy. Yeah, great guy. Yeah.
Cool, man. This has been great. We have to probably wrap up pretty soon.
Yeah, we can talk all day about, man. We got so many connections, man. Intersecting connections. Clacker, man. Shout out to Clacker as well, too.
Clacker.
Clacker was part of the coaching staff that was over in the States looking for an import to bring over for the 1990 season to play with Rucker, who they had already chosen over Andre the Fleur. And they were looking for a big guy. Clacker was part of that group with Curly, who was looking at this one particular guy in America. And my team was in town playing against him. I was in the CBA over there. And we flogged that other team. I'm matched up with the guy that they're checking out. And they end up turning their attention from me to them. I mean, from him to me.
Yeah.
For these guys. So Clacker, he tells me the story. I didn't know the story till later on, But they
He's brought out some good imports, Dre, including yourself over the years. Man. And but yeah, look, you seen Mike Mitchell in his prime too.
Oh,
and that was a shame he got injured, Dre. He would have been an import that really would have done well, I think.
His boy's not bad either. I like his boy too. He played with the Bullets the last couple of years. Yeah.
If he just had the ups that Mitchell did, Mitchell was such a good athlete.
Great athlete, man.
And revolutionized that 3 spot like a power 3.
Yeah.
Shoot, drive, and post it up all together.
Yeah. Might have to also give condolences to the Leader family. We lost, Mark Leader, played for North Melbourne Giants.
I did hear that.
2 years ago, we lost Storm and Norman Taylor as well as too. Guys we do from the NBL. You know, so
he was an absolute legend, Dre. Like he was one of the tougher guys I ever played against. Storm and Norman.
Yeah, Storm and Norman was tough.
I learned so much off that guy. Like, just on positional play, and he took you to school, and you're like, how did that happen? You know, like
those guys up in heaven now. Oh, leader, Colbert, aforementioned Colbert, Dave Colbert, and Storm and Norman, man. Well, man, it's been great. I've been really enjoyed this. I'm glad thanks for coming on to the show, man. I really appreciate you coming on and telling us about your life.
Thanks very much for coming on.
Best wishes with your health.
Yeah, I appreciate it, boys. It's all awesome to chat about the old times, and good, more power to you, boys, and keep talking now.
For sure. Looking forward to the NBA draft at the end of this in a few more days. That's going to be fun. Looking forward. We'll talk about Victor Wembanyama before. I mean, this guy could be an amazing prospect. I don't know what have you seen with this with Victor?
For me, like Victor is like LeBron said it the best. He's a basketball alien, isn't he? Like
alien, yeah.
We've never seen anything like it. Like if Jokic gets picked 49th, he's something special. Like this kid, I don't know. Like it'll be interesting to see how he plays positionally in the NBA with his size and skill level, and where he actually fits in, and how he can control, and if he can be a playmaker. So there's a few question marks to that stuff, but I think he's going to revolutionize that. I don't know how you're going to match up on him. Like
paper. He's got all the tools.
Like imagine being a center and matching up on that kid. Like wow, it's you're going to have great footwork, and then his post ability seems to be fantastic already. Like he's finishing in Europe.
Got a little bit of Mongo in him as well too.
Yeah, man, and athletically, like wow, like and he seems to have the you know how the Jokic is really down to earth. And, he seems to have that, and I think that's really good.
I like that in player. Yeah, down to earth.
Good for a franchise, you know.
Yeah,
and he'll be a franchise and to land at the Spurs is pretty cool too.
Yeah. Hey Tim, when you look at John, who do you remind you of? What NBA legend does he look like? Do you remind me of facially?
Who's that? Sorry, who?
John here.
Who does he look like in the NBA?
Think about Run TMC.
Chris Mullin, you reckon?
Yeah, Chris Mullin. I'm saying Chris Mullin.
I'm losing my hair, right?
I think he'd probably be a little bit taller than Chris Mullin, actually.
Yeah, just talking about this facially right here. I get Chris Mullin. I played with Tim Hardaway Sr. in high school.
Yeah,
man, you were so lucky. Like we've been really lucky, you know, to play and experience the '90s and the last of the true NBL. Great years, you know, like it's coming back, and I've got my fingers crossed, and all the right things linking with the NBA. Like that's something I've had an opinion about for a long time. I think it should have always been linked with the NBA as a feeder.
Before you go, greatest NBL player ever, you think, in your opinion, your greatest NBL player?
Dwayne McClain.
You going Dwayne McClain? Okay, I got to go with Lethal Leroy, man.
Of course, yeah.
Bro, like Leroy,
Lethal Leroy, man.
Like Leroy, you can't not give Leroy props, and what a legend, and great man to play with. One of the coolest, you know. Just so Dwayne, I thought had so much game. Like, he just got caught up in that scandal, only ruined his career. Like he was the best player to come here.
That was the same year we went to this NCAA tournament in '85. We lost to Georgetown, Sweet 16. They ended up beating Georgetown.
Bro, and that guy went 9 from 9 in that game. Like that was in the championship game. Like that was
70% from the field they shot. Yeah.
Yeah, like Dwayne hooped in that game and the championship. And
they had another little guard, Gary McClain, who ended up coming out of the bag and blowing the whistle on a lot of stuff, you know. So
that was the scandal. That's right. Well, I mean, Dwayne. It took him 12 years.
Dwayne. Gary was the other one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ESPN wrote the wrong story, and I think that Dwayne was in a long court battle with them. It took him 12 years to clear his name.
Because of the same surnames. Yeah,
man. That's right. Yeah, and it ruined his career, it was crazy. He went to Italy with Tree Rollins, you know.
Yeah. Lethal Leroy, that's my guy, man.
Yeah, man.
Both ends of the court. Leaping Leroy.
Anyway, guys, it's been great. We're gonna have to wrap this up. But yeah, Andrew Gaze is great.
That's the strain ever. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. No, thanks very much, John. It's been a pleasure to get to know you over the podcast. A great story, a good career, like the boxing as well. That's really, really good. Another
great
sort
insight,
of
boxing insight.
Another layer to the onion skin, as we say. Yeah, no, it's good that you, and very proud, very happy that you're, beating cancer and getting rid of it. So, and we
thanks for the love, Tim. I appreciate it.
And I have to shout out to my friend Gene Bartram, who put us in touch too. So, good school.
Thanks for organising this too.
School friend that lived in Lauderdale down the road in Hobart, and he was the one who knows John. So,
peace to him.
Yeah, so he'll no doubt be watching this when it's up. So I'll get this up a bit later on today. But thanks very much, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk about Queenstown to Queensland.
Queenstown to Queensland, exactly.
Yeah, Queenstown to Queensland. We're gonna make that happen.
Yeah. See you guys.
You take it easy, gentlemen.